Welcome back, everybody. This is the Enemies of the Fire podcast. And again, this is our picks, predictions, prognostications, guesses, educated or not. Gentlemen, this is James. This is DPG, and I am FC Neo Tokyo. And we are here to go over match day 13 in Major League Soccer.
Match day 15.
I thought you said 13.
Match day 15. Welcome to match day 15 here on Enemies of the Fire. Make sure you guys punt that like button. And if you've been following along, we've been doing pretty mysterious. We'll discuss that later. New England Revolution taking on New York City FC for the very first match. Everybody, are you guys excited for this one? I mean, we as Fire fans are not. But Revolution are, really bad, but maybe a little bit better than the Fire because they did get a win off of the Fire. And they are taking on the very good New York City FC team, who's in 5th place. 7
Would you
wins.
call them very good? I feel like they're stumbling around.
5th place, like 7 wins. I think that's very good, but they are away, and they only have 2 away wins to their name. Meanwhile, New England is got 1 win at home, 1 win away, and they aren't scoring more than 0.8 goals a game. They're giving up 2.1, so they are not playing well at all. New York City is giving up 1.1 goals a game and scoring 1.3. I'm feeling NYCFC with an away win here.
100%.
Yeah, I agree.
Honestly, I feel like we're seeing a shift in Major League Soccer where the cream is rising to the top, and there are some perennial losers and perennial winners now.
DPG,
it's New York, man. New York all the way.
The next game on my list,
the
bottom basement dwellers. We got Chicago Fire taking on DC United. Chicago Fire, of course, a traveling all the way to our nation's capital, and they are hopefully going to have a good time here. I mean, DC is not necessarily a great team. They just have 2 more wins than the Fire. 3rd, 17th place with 4 wins. Chicago Fire in 28th place, languishing and just really waiting to fire Frank Klopas. I mean, like, are there signs of life in this Fire team if they don't fire Frank Klopas?
That is a can of worms. You know what? We're going to save it for the Fire segment. I'm just going to say this. DC United for the win.
Well, Fire have 0 wins away on the road this season, and I don't think they're going to get one in DC, where DC has 3 out of their 4 wins at home. DC is giving up 1.7 goals against the game versus the Fire almost 2 goals a game, and I really don't feel like that's the goalkeeper's fault for the Fire. It's really more of the defense.
Nope. It is not Chris Brady's fault.
I think he's one of the better goaltenders in the game. And then as far as goals coming along, DC United's almost getting a goal and a half a game to the Chicago not even hitting 1 goal a game scored.
I'm going to use the scientific method of mathematics here. And just, there is no reason on earth why Benteke shouldn't score a brace and DC win this game. Except for the Fire have lost so many games in a row and have been so terrible, they have to stumble upon something. This is going to be a very ugly 0-0 draw.
You got to think that they will stumble on something, especially with all the crap that's been talked about Shaqiri. We'll talk about that in the podcast. But you got to figure out they're going to stand up and try and make stand up for themselves, if not for Frank necessarily.
You'd like to believe.
Yeah, but if I was a betting man, I'm betting on DC United.
You betting DC and DPG? You betting DC?
No, I'm betting DC, man.
Yeah, so that's.
I'm calling it a draw. I'm just a sheer draw. Calling it a draw.
All right, that's fair. Toronto FC taking on FC Cincinnati. Toronto is in 7th place. They got past the suspension for some of their players after that brawl. We got a little video about that. Take a look. FC Cincinnati is in 2nd place on 9 wins. They are in a commanding spot in MLS. They travel very well. 5 wins on the road, 4 wins at home for Cincinnati. Toronto is at home, though, and home is a fortress for Toronto. 5 wins, 2 wins on the road for Toronto. Meanwhile, when you look towards the goal-scoring area, they're relatively even at the goal-scoring spot. Toronto has 1.5 to Cincinnati's 1.4, so they're both scoring about a goal and a half a game. And as far as giving up goals, Toronto is giving up a goal and a half of a game, so they seem to be having a few more ties in their future. Meanwhile, Cincinnati giving up a lot less goals than they score. They're giving up 0.8 goals a game. They're scoring more than they give up. I'm looking at Cincinnati as the dominant team coming into this one, even though they're away. How are you guys feeling?
I love the contemplation. I love it.
You know what? I gotta go with Toronto.
At home is a fortress. This is a tough one.
I'm starting to buy what Toronto is selling 100%, honestly. But because Cincinnati is so good, I'm calling a draw here.
I like the draw no bet for this one. You know, maybe you go draw no bet, or the draw straight up. You do call the draw. I think you got a good point there.
It's getting the worst odds, but I call draw on that.
All right, I definitely.
Do you know why Cincinnati's so good at defense? Matt Miazga and Miles Robinson.
They're quite good, but is Toronto going to be good enough at defense?
I mean, come on, you think about it, man. Toronto has Conroe Bernadeschi is playing a lot better. You know,
You're right. You're right. The power of the cornrows. You're right.
Yeah.
It's a 6:30 p.m. game on Saturday. You know, they got the Saturday Night Lights. So man, this is a tough one. You got to imagine the home's going to have that home team bump, but they're going against one of the best in MLS in Cincinnati. This is actually a very hard one. I'm going to go with Toronto.
Oh, we got 2 Torontos in a draw on this one.
Wow, none of us went Cincinnati.
Nope.
No.
You would think.
Oh, I was thinking about Cincinnati. I'm going to stick with Toronto, as you're saying there. CF Montreal. We spent a lot of time on that one. CF Montreal versus Nashville. I mean, that was a troubling one. CF Montreal taking on Nashville. Montreal is at home, and they have just been languishing, trying to figure it out. They lost their coach in Wilfred Nancy, and they have been floundering ever since. You know, if players want off, they want to even stay in MLS. They just don't want to stay in Montreal. Montreal is in 25th place with 3 wins. Nashville not doing that much better. They got 3 wins. They're in 20th place.
Yeah,
but
Nashville's kind of in shambles as well.
They are, but they are traveling. They have 0 away wins on the season. Montreal only 1 home win on the season. As for the goal scoring prowess, they both clock in at 1.3 goals per game. But defensively wise, there's a little bit of separation here between the two teams. Montreal lets up almost 2.5 goals a game versus Nashville only at 1.5 goals per game. I got to see Nashville coming in here as the better team. This is looking like a tie or Nashville win.
I'm gonna say bad soccer will prevail, which means give the edge to the home team. I'm calling Montreal.
Yeah. Same.
Oh, I'm calling a draw.
All right.
I will call for a draw in that one. And you guys are calling for Montreal taking on Nashville. All right, that's interesting. Atlanta United taking on LAFC. And this match is going to be a bit of a doozy. It's going to be fun. LAFC is the traveling team. They are the better team. 10th place in MLS, 6 wins on the season. Atlanta is in 22nd place, 3 wins on the season, but you got to believe all 3 wins came at home. Atlanta, home is a bit of a fortress. LAFC only 1 win on the road. When we take a look deeper at their goal scoring prowess, Atlanta scoring about 1.3 goals a game, just under 1.5. Meanwhile, LAFC scoring over 1.5 at 1.8 goals a game. A little bit of the better offense on the LAFC side. Defensively, Atlanta is the better side at 1.2 goals prevented. 1.2 goals against. And LAFC with 1.5. So, goal and a half game given up by LAFC, just under a goal and a half a game by Atlanta. Atlanta is at home. LAFC is the dominant team. This is a tricky one. I'm going to go Atlanta. just straight off the gate.
I'm saying LAFC's making a statement here. This is the only team in the West, I believe, can walk into Eastern Conference house and throw it down.
I'm going for a draw.
Oh,
wow! All three of us just split on that.
Yep, we are all over the place.
That would be a draw, no bet, and I'm going to toss that on Atlanta.
Oh,
all right. So Orlando at City versus. I'm building a parlay while we do this. By the way, it's not going to hit, but
he's gambling.
Orlando City versus Columbus Crew. Columbus still trying to figure things out. And I think they're starting to tread in the right direction. They are going to be visiting Orlando, the hot Orlando City SC. And I mean the weather. Things are heating up here in the United States as far as the weather comes around. It's been getting warmer. Columbus Crew, 3 wins at home, 2 wins away. Orlando, home is not a fortress. They have 1 win at home. They have 3 wins away. They're better on the road. They don't even like being home.
Look at these odds. Is this? Well, I guess what? This is on the 25th. Their Champions League games on the 1st.
That's a good question. That's going to be impacting some decisions as far as the team composition for Columbus Crew, and it's also you got to believe that they're going to be trying to be going for the win in that other game, and that they might put
Orlando's
MLS
heavy favorites in this, which is wild.
Well, when we take a little deeper look at the goals for, Columbus is not scoring that many goals for. They're at a goal and a half for, and Orlando just under goal and a half, 1.2. So I mean, like, they're both okay offenses. Defensively, Columbus Crew is the winner there. 1 goal a game they're giving up. Meanwhile, Orlando City, 1.5 goals a game. So that does not spell well for Orlando City. I could see Columbus Crew getting the tie or the win here.
What do you think, DPG? Who do you feel?
Well, it's going to be Orlando because I bet you Columbus is going to rotate that lineup.
I still think Columbus is one of the best teams in this league, and this is about the time those teams start winning games. And so I actually see this a road win for Columbus.
Well, speaking to DPG, talking about rotation for that lineup, you guys got to remember that they did play Wednesday and Saturday, right?
Yeah, so did everybody else.
And so did everybody else. And plus, they're getting, but they're getting a week off since then. But these guys do have that game coming up. So, who's going to get rested when and where? I do think that's going to be interesting. I do think Columbus Crew are starting to hum, though. I'm looking at a Columbus Crew tie.
No, just for the Crew. Orlando doesn't tie this game.
No,
just for the Crew.
The city Orlando don't really exist. They
good.
Like
good.
The teams they play exist. They exist away from Orlando, but at Orlando they're like they dissipate in the presence of Senor Mickey Mouse. And
Orlando is just shadow boxing for you. Orlando tells you more about who you are than who Orlando
exactly.
is.
You got Shaq just hanging around behind a tree. You never know where he's gonna pop out for the magic.
I don't even care, dude. So DPG's got Orlando in that one. I took the Crew, and you take a draw, James.
Yeah, okay, we'll move on. Sorry, I'm throwing jokes out there. Charlotte FC versus Philadelphia Union, and this very next game of who the fuck cares? Let's get past this one very fast. Yeah, Charlotte FC versus Philadelphia Union. Philadelphia are in 16th place. Charlotte are in 12th place. They're better than the Fire. They're better than a lot of teams in MLS, which is kind of mysterious when you talk about the Charlotte FC. Not so mysterious when you talk about Philadelphia. Philadelphia is pretty good.
What's the acronym for Charlotte?
CLT. I believe that's clit. Oh, we might.
Yeah, it's something like that.
And we might get popped for that. But
did you hear the news though that they just they bought out their DP?
I did not hear.
They waive them.
Wow.
They waived them. Yeah.
No, was that Austin?
I thought that was Charlotte. Am I crazy? I think they both did. I saw a lot of people get waived today.
So honestly. Yeah. So story goes is that I guess in his contract there's a clause that if you played a certain number of games.
Yeah, they'd have to. It triggered a bonus.
Triggered an extension.
Oh,
so he was gonna get extended for 2025. So I think the cutoff was 12 games. If he hit 12 games, that was it. He was at 11, and they cut him.
Makes sense, man.
Well, the bird is the word. Charlotte, our home is a fortress for them. 5 wins at home. Philadelphia do travel well. 3 wins on the road. When we take a little bit closer look at their goals scoring prowess, Philadelphia almost scoring 2 goals a game versus Charlotte's 1 goal a game. But defensively, Charlotte, the Clit, knows how to lock it up. 0.9 goals against versus Philadelphia Union and Philly's loose. 1.6 goals against. So Philly might be loose, but they're popping them in. And Charlotte, very, very tight.
I'm going Charlotte on this one. Home team.
Yeah, home team.
Yeah,
home
Charlotte.
Team.
Three clicks for Charlotte. I like that one. 3 clicks. 3 clicks. I said 3 clicks for Charlotte, guys. Come on. Comment below. Hit that thumbs up. FC Dallas versus Real Salt Lake for the jokes. FC Dallas versus Real Salt Lake coming up. We got the battle of another.
Real Salt Lake.
Well, really? That fast.
They're on fire.
Real Salt Lake in 3rd place, 8 wins on the season. FC Dallas, 3 wins on the season in 24th place. They are in Dallas. It is going to be warm. It is going to be humid. It is going to be smelling like cow asshole. FC Dallas.
Be a Salt Lake win.
FC Dallas with 3 wins on the season at home. Real Salt Lake know how to travel, and they travel well. Can they travel to Texas country? I think the team from Utah can. I've been to Utah, and I feel like they could assimilate with the people of Texas for a day or two, pull off the win, right back to Real Salt Lake. And we look a little deeper at the goals for Real Salt Lake, almost 2 goals a game. I mean, Christian Arango has been something special. FC Dallas, meanwhile, just over what is it? A lamb's tail of a goal and a goal 1.1. Okay, I tried to joke there. I lost it. 1.1 goals for FC Dallas. 1.4 goals against for FC Dallas. Meanwhile, only a goal a game for Real Salt Lake. Real Salt Lake is the real deal.
Oh, yeah.
FC Dallas is going to be at home, but they're playing one of the best teams in the league.
I'm pretty sure me and DPG told you about 2 minutes ago. RSL all day, every day.
I gotta bring up the stats.
I'll lock it in for a draw there. I don't think RSL pull it off. But I do like your guys' bet there for Real Salt Lake. St. Louis City FC taking on our 2 favorite teams. St. Louis City FC taking on Seattle Sounders. It's going to be in Seattle. I'm sorry, it's going to be in St. Louis, the armpit of America. So you better wear deodorant. But St. Louis, home is a bit of a fortress. All their wins come from home. 3 wins. Seattle Sounders, they travel decently. They got 2 wins on the road. When we dig a little deeper at the goal scoring prowess, Seattle not so good at the offense. 1.1 goals per game. Meanwhile, St. Louis, not so bad. 1.5 goals per game, but they're even. Their 1.5 goals against makes them cancel out everything for St. Louis SC. Seattle gives up 1.2 goals per game. They're slightly the better defensive unit, but the worst offensive unit. I think St. Louis City pulls off the home win.
I will have to concur with that, definitely. That place, they play well there. They're going to win.
This feels like a really good week to bet MLS.
Yeah, right? I agree with Toke on that.
Like we're lining up a lot of home wins, and last week we were lining up a lot of away wins.
We were right last week a lot, honestly.
Interesting.
Last Wednesday we did well. But did you hear that Mrs. Royce did not love St. Louis upon her visit?
Marco Royce?
Mrs.
Oh, what do you think? What do you expect? It's a dump. Like, who says, I'm gonna go? Who says I'm gonna go vacation in St. Louis?
Yeah,
like,
I don't think Marco Royce is going to St. Louis either.
No.
Word is Charlotte.
Wow, Marco Royce to Charlotte. I know Sergio Ramos. They're talking about Kevin De Bruyne. We'll talk about that in the podcast. Colorado Rapids versus Minnesota United coming up here. Minnesota is going to be dealing with the fallout of this weird Reynosa video that we saw pop up. Take a look at the tweets if you're wondering what we're talking about. We don't know. It's a legend. It's a legend.
It could be AI. Who knows?
He has a stack of So the guy has a stack of cash and
No,
holding
no,
a gun.
no. Let him let him figure it out
Alleged.
for themselves. Yeah, allegedly.
They're allegedly racks on racks on racks. Okay?
Allegedly, there's a gun in the video. Allegedly, Colorado Rapids
Might be AI.
versus Minnesota United. Colorado is at home, and you better believe they're going to be smoking that Chiba. They're in 11th place, 6 wins, and
they're on the up though.
Minnesota though, quite good, 4th place, 7 wins. When we take a little, when we take a little bit, thank you.
What was that? It scared me.
Beautiful wife was scaring me with some delicious cake. I saw a shadow. But she's beautiful wife surprised me with some cake.
James.
And if we're talking about some cake, well, great timing because Colorado is going to eat the cake of Minnesota United. They're going to be dealing with a little bit too much. Colorado, George Mihailovic, the pride of Lamont, is going to be scoring 1.7 goals for Colorado, 1.8 for Minnesota. So that Minnesota is the better offensive team. But when we look a little deeper at defensive metrics, they are also the better defensive team. But that doesn't matter because Colorado Rapids are home. 1.6 goals against. It doesn't matter. Colorado Rapids are going to take this. They're mile high. Minnesota's going to be too busy thinking about like summer and like, why are we here in Denver? I don't want to ski. I want to get on a boat.
It's the West, so none of those teams are super strong.
I'm giving Colorado the edge.
Colorado is on the up, and they're basically chaos as a team. So I'm all for Colorado on this one.
BBG.
Colorado, man. Chris Armas is leading that squad. He's doing a really good job.
Man, it'd be cool. It'd be cool if he was available earlier this season. To hire for
you know what?
It'd be cool if he was available to talk about in our tier list that we were going to talk about.
It'd be cool if the guy did tell me one time that he would really love to coach the Fire.
Well, speaking of the Fire, the Vancouver Whitecaps are ice cold, and which is the opposite of Fire. They're taking on Inter Miami, which is in first place, 9 wins on the season for Inter Miami, 5 wins on the season for Vancouver. Vancouver started off hot, started to philander with a couple.
You mean flounder?
Started to philander with some Russian bots. No, flounder. That's what I mean. Started to flounder. Vancouver Whitecaps started off very strong. 2 wins at home, 3 wins away. Meanwhile, Inter Miami, good from home, good away. Doesn't matter where they play. 2.4 goals a game for Inter Miami. Probably got to be the toast of MLS. Got to be one of the highest numbers I've read. But 1.3 goals against, that means they're pretty decent at defense too. Or at least from
better every game. Or
at least from keeping the other team from scoring. Meanwhile, Vancouver, 1.5 goals for and 1.2 goals against. They are solid. They are good, but how do you pick against Inter Miami at all this season? I'm finding it hard.
Yeah, it's really.
You can't. The only reason to not pick them is just to say, well, they're on the road and they can't win every single game. You know what I mean? But beyond that, yeah, everything in my soul tells me to go with Inter Miami, so I'm going Inter Miami.
Bet Miami. Moving on to San Jose Earthquakes. We only have 3 games left here. San Jose Earthquakes taking on Austin SC. They're going to be in California, not Texas. Sorry, Matthew McConaughey. You're going to have to come out to L.A.
All right.
But it is San Jose, which is a little different than LA. San Jose, of course, not the best team in MLS. They haven't been that way ever since they've invested in the dirt, in the ground around the stadium. San Jose Earthquakes, 27th in MLS, 3 wins on the season. Austin figured it out. I remember talking about them being not so good, but the green and black stripes have figured it out. They're in 8th place, 6 wins on the season. When we dig a little deeper, they do not travel that well. Austin does not travel. That's because that's Matthew McConaughey is not with them. Guess what? He'll be with them on this California trip. You didn't hear from me. That's alleged. San Jose Earthquakes, though, 2 wins at home. Home is not a fortress. Nowhere is a fortress for San Jose Earthquakes. They have been scoring, though. 1.6 goals for versus Austin SC's 1.4. So Earthquakes are the better offensive team. That does usually bode well for a home
win.
Are
you telling me that they're the team without Jossie Zardes is the better offensive team?
I am.
I can't believe that.
Meanwhile, defensively, that is where Earthquakes do run into a bit of a trouble. 2.4 goals against, got to be amongst the worst in all of MLS. Meanwhile, Austin SC travels decently. I mean, they don't let up too many goals, and their goals against 1.2. They're a much better defensive team. So Austin could be pulling off a tire win here, but does San Jose squeak out one of their rare home wins?
No, Austin.
I'm calling a draw. This is a classic, bad soccer battle.
I love that call. I'm on board with that. Oh, yeah.
All right.
DPG, where you at?
I said Austin.
You say Austin? Wow, and nobody's picking the home team.
And by the way, it's not green. It's verde.
Oh, give me that verde salsa. Portland Timbers taking on Sporting Kansas City here for our second to last, our penultimate game. Portland Timbers at home against Sporting Kansas City. Portland have 3 wins on the season. They're in 23rd place. Sporting Kansas City in 26th place. 2 wins on the season. They both suck a lot of dick.
Bad soccer all around.
Yeah, just not doing too well. Sporting Kansas City, 1 win on the road. Portland, 2 wins at home. Home is not a fortress. We dig in a little deeper at their goal scoring prowess. Portland can score goals. 1.9 goals scored a game. Sporting Kansas City, 1.6 goals a game. But herein lies the problem. They give up a lot. They are sieves, absolute sieves. Portland Timbers giving up more than 2 goals a game, 2.1. And Sporting Kansas City under 2 goals a game, 1.8. Sporting Kansas City is the metrics on their side, but Portland Timbers are at home. How are you guys feeling?
I feel like go Kansas City. I'm betting against Portland until they prove me otherwise. Like I think if you bet against Portland all season, you'd end up ahead. Like you may win, you may lose a battle here or there, but you're gonna end up ahead.
You convinced me. I'm riding Sporting Kansas City. Where you at, DPG?
You know what? I gotta go with Portland.
Oh
wow! All right, Portland it is. There's the call. Last game of the century. Not really. LA of week match day 15 MLS. LA Galaxy versus Houston Dynamo. LA Galaxy, the hotness of Houston Dynamo, going to be clashing in LA. LA Galaxy in 9th place with 5 wins. Houston Dynamo in 15th place with 5 wins. They both have 5 wins. Who will get their 6th? It might be none.
LA Galaxy will get their 6th. The LA Galaxy are you're gonna. I think they're the best team in the West.
LA Galaxy
they might not have the best record, but I think they're the best team in the West for sure.
2 wins at home for LA Galaxy, 3 wins on the road for Houston Dynamo. We dig in a little deeper at their goal scoring prowess. Houston can't buy a bucket. 0.9 goals for. Meanwhile, LA Galaxy 1.8 goals a game, almost 2 goals a game. Defensively, Houston Dynamo have the edge at a half a goal a game. They're letting up a goal a game. Meanwhile, LA Galaxy letting up a goal and a half. I'm picking Galaxy.
It's Galaxy, man. It has to be Galaxy.
It does. Gentlemen, did we just do it again?
We rattled them off.
We wrapped up another week. Remember, if you are gambling, we are just a couple guys who enjoy watching soccer. We are not experts at any means, by any stretch of the
imagination. Don't be a degenerate. That's all I'm trying to say.
Gamble responsibly. I don't gamble, period, honestly. Out of all the really cool vices I have, that's one I don't. So,
and he has vices.
So, all right, let's catch you next time for match day 16. But let us know how you do in match day 15. We love to read your comments. We love to hear where you're betting.
But safe. Don't be a degenerate.
Enemies. Yeah, check out the rest of the Enemies of the Fire podcast and videos. We do a lot of fun things over here.
I'll catch you guys later. See you guys later. Bye-bye.